Hello everyone and welcome to my review for the film Game Night. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about what I liked about Game Night, and one of the things right off the bat is that comedic concept that drives the film. If you've seen the trailers, you know what I'm referring to, but this whole movie is really driven by that one comedic concept, for lack of a better term. And I'll talk a little bit more in depth about it when I get it later in the review. But this concept is basically what is one of the most inventive and intelligent parts of the film, and honestly is one of the most inventive and intelligent comedic concepts that I've really seen in comedy movies, American comedy movies recently. Those of you who are familiar with American comedy films know that for the most part they're usually not very good. They tend to be overstuffed with cheap or crude humor. But Game Night takes a completely different route, completely subverts those expectations, and goes for a far more unique and intelligent route to providing its laughs. And that's something I really appreciate about this film right off the bat, is that they decided to take a risk in the comedy genre, and it paid off. This is one really good dark comedy film. And as I was kind of saying earlier, not only is the comedic concept behind the movie really good, but so is the content. It's a very fun and funny film. The dialogues are very well written. They're all very funny. The performers all have great comedic timing and comedic chemistry. Not only that, but the pacing is also really good in this film. So overall, I had a blast with this movie. It's a really fun movie to watch. And I was laughing a lot of the time, thanks to not only the great performers, but also just the pacing and the quality of the dialogues and comedic situations in this film. The screenplay is excellent in this film. They really play up the comedic concept to really funny heights in this film. So overall, I really enjoyed the comedy aspects of Game Night. And of course, the performers are all really good. As I said earlier, great comedic timing and comedic chemistry between everyone. But for me, the two performers that really took it home in this movie were Jason Bateman and Rishabh McAdams. Not only is the chemistry between them really good, but they're very charming and very naturally funny actors. Even when the dialogue isn't very funny, they somehow, just through their overall charm and chemistry, make watching Game Night a very, very enjoyable experience. They're both very experienced comedic actors, so that really shows in this film. Additionally, without giving away too much, there's a lot of scope for action in this film. And so you also have a lot of great action choreography and even some great cinematography in this film. There's one particular one-take sequence in this film that I've really never seen something like that before, especially in a comedy film. It's an excellent one-take sequence and very, very well executed for the most part. Additionally, there's a great score behind this film as well. I'm not quite sure who the composer for the score for this movie is, but it's a great score, and I'm not going to ruin what kind of score it is, but it really, strangely enough, does match kind of the pacing and energy of this film. Now let's talk a little bit about the things I did not like about Game Night, and to talk about that, I'm going to have to spoil kind of the comedic concept I was referring to earlier, so if you don't want to know what that is, skip over this part of the video. But basically, that concept is that all these people are having a game night and they hire like a third-party recreational murder mystery simulation kind of company to host a game for them. But it turns out that real kidnappers come over, but all the players think that this is just part of that simulation. So that's kind of the really inventive concept that I was talking about earlier. Now, that said, the concept and comedy behind the concept are all really great. Performers, everything that I said earlier still stands. But the plot of the film, the actual plot of the film, when you really get into the meat of the film and the plot is revealed, it's kind of weak. And that was a little bit disappointing for me personally, because I felt like with such a great concept, such great actors, I would have liked the plot to be a little bit stronger. I'm not trying to take away from anything that Game Night does accomplish, especially in the comedy genre. It does a lot. But for me personally, I felt like the plot just wasn't strong enough to really kind of substantiate the movie. I wish that there had been a little bit more substance in the film. That said, again, as I said earlier, Game Night accomplishes a lot, but I wish there had been more substance, especially in terms of the antagonist. I'm not revealing anything or spoiling anything, but I felt like there wasn't enough in terms of, you know, the antagonist or the plot to really keep me completely engaged or interested the whole time. So it sometimes feels like the movie's lacking in plot substance. So for me, that's kind of my takeaway, where like the comedy and concept are great, but I wish that the movie had been substantiated with a more strong plot. Additionally, the movie takes some time to really get going into the meat of the plot. So it's the first half is actually kind of slow paced, and you're kind of waiting for something to happen. It does come eventually, but I felt like they kind of meandered or squandered that time in the beginning a little bit too much. But once the movie gets going, it really kicks into drive. So overall, I would say Game Night is a great movie, especially in terms of comedy genre. It accomplishes a lot, as I said, with that concept, and the comedy is really, really funny. And so it's definitely one of the better comedy films to come out in recent times. But that said, I feel like this movie could have had a stronger plot and perhaps gone even a little bit darker. It's definitely already quite a bit of a dark comedy, but I felt like there were certain areas where the film could have gone or moved away a little bit from that lighthearted kind of tone and moved into a little bit of a darker zone while still being a comedy. It's a very difficult balance to pull off anyways, but I feel like it could have gone there. So despite the fact that, you know, everything that Game Night does is amazing, for me it came off by the end of the day as a little bit forgettable. Especially because of the plot not being very strong. I'll definitely remember, it's the type of movie I'll remember for what it was trying to accomplish and the concept behind it. But in terms of execution, I'll say overall, well done, but the plot just wasn't there for me completely, and that's why for me, it'll be a little bit forgettable. Overall, though, Game Night is a fun movie, and with great performances, especially by Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. It's a ton of fun. It's really funny. Wish the plot was better, but I think it's a good time in general. So I'll give Game Night a B. It's a good movie. I think you guys should check it out. It's definitely one of the better comedies to come out recently. But I wish that the movie hadn't, you know, kind of stopped midway and had gone all the way and provided just not only a great comedy film, but just a great film overall. But it kind of falls short of that. But overall, as I said, very fun, very funny. So be sure to check it out, guys. And also be sure to check out all my other videos on my channel and all my upcoming videos. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those great things. I'll see you guys next time in the next video.